We're going to put our sound design project down for a second to build some of our own sound effects. In this movie, we'll start with literally nothing to create a motion graphics type sound effect. At any time when you're working in a multi-track session like we have here, you can go to the File menu and choose New, Audio File. You'll be asked to save the audio file, so we'll name it My Whoosh Effect, and we'll hit OK, and we're brought into the waveform editor. Next, I'm going to use the Effect Generate Noise parameters to start generating something from scratch. So the noise generator, like the tone generator we saw earlier, is able to generate different noise profiles. And what I mean by that is we have different colors of noise. Noise is the technical term for a sound file with an even dispersion of frequencies happening all at once. So different color noises, like for example, white noise, is all frequencies at all volumes. Since there are many more high frequencies than low frequencies, white noise tends to have a really bright sound. Let's take a listen to what white noise sounds like. Other noise color types, like for example pink noise, actually compensates for there being more high frequencies. So you can see the noise dispersion of frequencies is weighted a bit. So pink noise has a little bit of darker quality and the high frequencies aren't emphasized as much. And finally, we have brown noise, which is even a steeper slope, so we get even more low-end dispersion and a little bit less high-end dispersion. So I actually like working with brown noise to generate sound effects from. So I'll start with brown noise. Again, hearing it here, it's not the most interesting sound, but it gives us a very wide palette to begin something and start something from because it contains an even dispersion of all of our frequencies. So let's go ahead and we'll keep brown sound on there and we can give it a duration. So we don't need it to be 9 seconds and 29 frames long. We can actually just make this a lot smaller. Let's make it just 1 second long. I'll just double click in there and I'll type 1 second. I don't think we're going to need a whoosh that lasts longer than 1 second. So once I've got 1 second of brown noise, I'll go ahead and hit OK. And there's my brown noise. You can see in the spectrogram we have a higher concentration of low frequencies and a little bit less high frequencies, but regardless, it's going through the whole frequency spectrum, and it sounds like this. Now we want to make it more into a traditional whoosh sound. So one of the things we're going to do is using some filtering ideas with our lasso. We're going to take only a section. So we're going to start by right up here in the top left, and we're going to lasso a section that kind of diagonally moves down so that we're grabbing all the stuff in here. We want to just make sure we got that outside edge. I might correct that in a second. You can hold Shift and you can add to your selection. So I want to make sure I got all this stuff here. And I'll hold Shift again just to make sure we're getting everything on the outside edge. Great. So we're kind of making a diagonal selection. And so over time, over our second, we're going to lose more and more of our high frequencies until we're left with just the low stuff and then nothing at the end. So now that we have that selection, I actually want to add an effect, but when I add the effect, it'll only be added to whatever's highlighted. So it'll only be adding an effect to the selection. And in this case, I want to add a distortion effect. So go up to Effect, and here under Special, I've got our distortion plugin. So the distortion plugin starts out with a linear curve. There's no distortion happening, but the more nonlinear this curve gets, the more distortion we'll have. And I usually start out here just by looking up into our presets. So there's a couple different shapes, and one of the ones I like for no other reason than the name is cool is snakeskin. And when you put snakeskin on, you have a very interesting nonlinear curve. And we can listen to what this does. Basically, I'm just looking for something interesting sonically. And that's, part of being a sound designer is just sort of trial and error, playing around. Like I didn't know what snakeskin was going to sound like until I tried it. So let's just hear what that sounds like. That's pretty cool. So I'll use that to my advantage. I mean, we can listen to some other ones. Let's just check out, let's try Swamp Thing and just see what that sounds like. A little different, you know? We can try out some other ones. Maximum Pain. That's going to be just a full distortion. It's going to be probably pretty loud. Let's take a listen. Oh, yeah. That just blew my brains out. So, you know, that's maybe not one we'll do. I liked Snakeskin. Let's keep it on that one. And I'll click Apply. Again, we've only distorted, let me just deselect that, the stuff that lied within my selection. So we have more to do. That's not quite the effect we're looking for, although it does sound more interesting than just the brown noise. But the next thing I want to do is use something called doppler. Doppler is another really cool effect that comes with Audition. So I'm going to actually select the entire sequence this time. And under Effects, I'm going to go into Special, and I'm going to choose the Doppler shifter. Now, if you're not familiar with the term Doppler, Doppler exploits a phenomenon of physics that occurs when an object moves toward or away from you rapidly. When this happens, the pitch changes. You might have noticed this, for example, when a fire engine siren is coming towards you, the pitch gets higher. And as it moves away, the pitch gets lower. So Doppler is that physical phenomenon, and we have these parameters to make a sound appear as if it's coming towards us and then moving away. So right now you can see this arrow indicating that this sound on the default settings is going to start from the left and move towards us to the right. Now I'm going to actually make it so the starting distance is a lot closer. I'm going to make it maybe even something as close as, say, 10 meters away. And I'm going to increase the velocity, make it moving pretty fast, and I'm going to change the angle where it's coming from. So I'm going to make it coming from almost in front of us, and then it's going to move towards the back of us. So it's going to move in this direction. And we can alter how far it passes in front of us. Is it close to us by 0 meters? In other words, passing right over our heads, or is it a couple meters away as it passes? We can then adjust the volume based on distance and direction, which I want to do. I like both of those ideas. And I'll keep the quality actually on perfect. So it'll be as slowest to render, but it'll be perfect sounding, the best audio quality we can get. So let's hear what that would sound like. So now we're getting really into that whoosh effect because it's got this real dramatic flying over our head type sound, which is great for the all-powerful whoosh. And one thing I didn't like is that it seemed to move too fast. So I'm going to actually slow down the velocity just a little bit, and let's hear what that sounds like now. Great. So I'll actually split the difference. I want it a little faster, but that's getting more in the territory of what I was looking for. And I like how it gets a little tweaked out at the end there. That was part of our distortion. So I'm going to keep that, and I'm going to click Apply, and we're going to make this sound effect. So now what we have spectrally looks like this. Now, one more thing I'm going to do just before I end is just using the heads-up display, just make it a little louder so it can really pop. And our final product sounds like this. Take it back to the beginning. So it's great. It's a real tweaky, kind of techie sound effect because it's got that glitchy stuff at the end, but it also has a ton of motion to it. So here, with just a few steps, we were able to make this awesome whoosh effect basically from scratch. I mean, we used the tone generator, but we didn't start with any recorded sound or any acoustic sound. And, you know, I moved quickly to show you how fast and easy it is to get something from nothing. But with even more time and energy, you can create a whole library of customized and personal sound effects of your own just by playing around with effects and the noise generator.